Hey everyone, welcome to the Incubator Podcast. I'm your co-host, Darren Boyd.
And this is the better half of your co-host, Satbir Sran. Welcome to the to the podcast here today. So we're going to take a little bit of a detour from our normal conversations on the podcast, where we bring emerging tech and things that we see in the industry. Albeit today we're still going to be talking about trends in technology, but it's going to be a little bit different because we're talking about Ahead. Ahead is the company that the three of us work for, meaning Darren, myself, and our esteemed guest, Ethan Rasa, who is the AI sales specialist at Ahead. And we're going to get into all things AI with Ethan. But before we do, talking, like I said, a little bit more about Ahead. So Ahead is a Chicago-based company with national coverage. So as Darren, myself, Ethan, we're on the West Coast here covering the region. We are taking innovative solutions to market, as well as an ability to address the complex challenges that our clients face. And so on that theme and notion, we wanted to bring on Ethan Rasa to talk about all things that we're seeing when it comes to Gen AI and beyond just the buzzword. So welcome, Ethan, to the podcast, and we're looking forward to hearing more. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit more of your background with us.
Absolutely. Great to be here, Darren and Satbir. My name is Ethan Rasa. I'm an AI sales specialist at Ahead, and I'm covering the West Coast region. Right now, Ahead is a company with about $4 billion in revenue, 3,000 employees, 2,500 of us are engineers. We have about 3,000 clients. A lot of them are in the Fortune 2000 range, if you will. And so we cover a good portion of the enterprise space in the United States. With regards to AI specifically, my background is coming from, so I have an engineering degree, so spent a lot of time in engineering. I worked in IT for several years, learned a lot about HPC, both as a young engineer, but also when I was working in consulting as well. Then really what is really HPC is high performance computing architecture and the backbone behind AI. And so AI came in as something that was traditionally a lot of data analysis for machine learning and large data processing and data science, if you will. With the power of HPC, it really turned into it evolved into other shapes and forms as we know it today, with, like, for instance, deep learning, and then evolved into Gen AI. And Gen AI, it was really the revolution that made AI a household item, right? So a lot of our families and kids now AI with ChatGPT, and the birth of AI was really the ChatGPT moment. We have different practices that it has when it comes down to AI. We have an engineering system integration, essentially solution that we help customers bring really the data platform and data engineering where they have in terms of data fabric, and integrate that with their compute systems, different applications. We have a managed service solution that we can help customers throughout this integration process. We have an application and then data science group practice here as well. We have an AI security and governance and strategy consulting engagement practice. And of course, we have top tier partnership with OEMs that we can tap into and build modern infrastructure for customers by tapping into that high tier pricing that we have with these customers. These are really like all these like silver bullet points that we have at Ahead were really the key reasons that I decided to join the organization, because we carry a really complete portfolio for our customers.
All right, thanks for that, Ethan. Really appreciate that. One of the things you said there is highlighting how quickly this space is evolving. Obviously, that creates opportunities and it creates a series of challenges as well for our customers. So, number one, before we get into how we're helping our customers navigate kind of that space, what are you doing? What is Ahead doing even to stay on top of some of these trends, to determine where we're going to make investments, determine where we're going to help customers in such a field that is exploding as rapidly as it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of we help clients across different uh, stages of this AI journey. We have clients that they want to they need support and help with getting started with AI strategy. Uh, Really, a lot of organizations are going from collecting data to gathering and converting that to insights and turning that into something that you can, with insights, then you can take this, start doing decision making and turn that into business value creation. So we help customers through this uh, road mapping exercise. And on the other hand, there are a set of clients that are ahead and they started a few years ago. And so they need more support throughout this production phase, not necessarily POC or piloting phase. We help them support through that stage as well with top tier modern infrastructure, with our security practice. We also recently acquired a company out in Illinois that really gives us an edge with regards to custom data center solutions. We're calling that AI Foundry. So we are able to do a lot of the logistics, shipping, receiving, custom building, rack and stacking, testing for customers, in addition to helping them bring and deploy use cases and solutions for them.
Yep. Thanks, Ethan, with all of that stuff. So if we talk about, so like you said, AI has been out there, and mostly everyone's been collecting data in some shape or form. So what is kind of like the approach that organizations are following, or what are we seeing in terms of operationalizing that data for insights?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think when I personally think about AI at scale, a lot of it starts with what is your data strategy? Where is your data sitting? How are you collecting that data? And it is really a gold mine of enterprises if you think about it. All companies are collecting data about the product that they're building and designing, how they're selling that, what is working, what's not working, different documentations that you have. If you think about like really simple examples of that, like PDF files, they're all like in some sort of a storage solution that companies have, and it's really tough to turn that into something that the entire company can tap into and do like essentially like mining, inside mining out of the PDFs. Now with Gen AI solutions, we basically offer this to companies very easily to be able to turn that into it's something that you can run queries out of, have conversations with, and start like basically finding cool insights or trends out of that data. That's one aspect of it. The other one is overall strategies when it comes down to data engineering and data fabric to be able to install or deploy your entire software stack. The stack really matters. What are the use cases that you have? In terms of your data science team, do you have an engineering or DevOps team that is tapping into that data as well? Is cloud a better solution for you versus an on-prem or hybrid? Where would you like to put that data? And companies like, I mean, like at Ahead, we are agnostic across this journey. We cover a full spectrum of solutions for customers, and regardless of deployment solutions, cloud or on-premise, we're able to help customers along that journey and meet them where they are with regards to their requirements. But data strategy essentially becomes a really important aspect of it, as well as overall AI stack.
So, question on what you just mentioned there, Ethan. So, certainly we're agnostic across, on-prem, cloud, hybrid patterns. Are you seeing any trend because, many clients in the past few years are, say, going to cloud, so they are in a hybrid state at this moment, or they have a desire to be all in the cloud. With AI using so much horsepower and cost and everything like that associated with that from a compute and storage resources. Is there any kind of pause on that you're seeing, or a different strategy that folks are taking for AI workloads, still being either just staying on-prem, or how's that kind of logic being thought
Yeah.
of?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think when I think about different industries, we work really closely with healthcare industry, financial services, manufacturing, aerospace, insurance, media, entertainment. It's really different across each of these verticals because of the common practices when it comes down to data sovereignty or data security strategies that they have. For instance, in financial services, the companies might prefer to keep some of the data or majority of that data under their own control because of the overarching CISO strategy that they have. We're able to map to that and run and deploy a production solution for customers and build a really modern stack for them. In certain other cases, maybe we're talking to a nimble cloud native company that theoretically, like historically, they've been working with cloud. They know and understand the pros and cons of different solutions. We're able to spin up a pilot or POC, maybe rather even more quickly when it's running in the cloud, and get them to go through that experimentation phase more quickly. But I think there are pros and cons. One comes with more of a managing your own data, essentially, and potentially saving on cost and being rather a little bit more in control of your data and in compute. Latency becomes an important aspect of this for certain cases where, for example, you have a human-like avatar talking to customers. Even a split second of latency can affect that basically that impression that customers have when they talk to that avatar. If the avatar is taking a really long time to spin up, then you lose that human-like impression. So latency becomes a really important aspect of it, as well as cost and data sovereignty strategies. We're able to map to that and meet customers where they're at.
It's interesting for our viewers. A lot of people think Satbir is real. He is actually an avatar. So one of the things we experience firsthand is you have folks in the business that are so excited by the promise of what AI capabilities can bring to their side of the house. And then you have folks in security that say, wow, you've just given us a world of things to worry about, from like just semantic reasoning and semantic security to prompt engineering and ensuring that the data that's going to be surfaced, you have guardrails in place to ensure that you should be able to see it, and certainly protections to share that out with data contracts and other things. So there's these opposing forces. On one hand, the business is trying to run really, really fast. On the other hand, security is absolutely concerned with the implications. How do we help customers kind of navigate these potential pitfalls and still measure the ROI of some of these investments that they have to undertake together?
That's a fantastic point, Darren. And I feel like this is one of the key values and one of the strong points and suits of Ahead. We recommend that clients bring security into their AI strategy as early as possible and involve them in how they're thinking about data strategy when it comes down to AI. Often AI is owned by subgroups of IT or engineering or DevOps, or maybe it's part of the CISO group, or sometimes CTO groups or CEO groups. So it is really important to involve the security team earlier on. And so they're mapping and they're working on the AI strategy. And when it comes down to data security, the other part of it is really most CISOs understand that AI is not something that is completely controllable. If you don't provide the tools in a secure manner to your business units and end users, they will go find open source tools. So it is better to have a coherent strategy when it comes down to AI deployments and in roadmaps. And start guardrailing that and working with the AI owners within the company to collaborate as opposed to necessarily blocking the entire initiative. In our experience, we're seeing a lot of success. We have actually a concept at Ahead that's called AI Hub or AI Workshop or AI Ideation, where we sit down with customers and go through various different aspects of the tech stack, data strategy, also security and governance, and we bring our subject matter expertise. And we also encourage our client point of contact to bring and involve representations from the CTO organization, from the CISO organization, so we can directly share client impact stories that we have across their own industry, so that we can help build that strategy and that AI center of excellence within the company.
Yeah. Ethan, just we talked about data and the security aspect of things, but going back to something you talked about earlier, whether it's data sovereignty, but just overall, I'll just call it data governance, right? So how important is it for organizations? Yes, everybody collects data in some shape, way, or form, and ultimately to harness that data, you need the appropriate governance structures, data libraries, data modeling in place, data taxonomies, if you will, right? All of those things in place to ultimately be able to leverage AI. So how is that running in parallel to or as part of the AI strategies that we're seeing out there?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll pick an example for instance, in healthcare specifically, if you want to like pick out one vertical, you can think about different places where AI can be a really good use case. There are healthcare devices that either medical medtech devices or devices that hospitals have and own and operate. There is digital health with regards to electronic health records. There's a lot of data there that you can start mining and helping generating insights using that for training of your nurse staff or for your doctors. Or there are now advanced use cases where you can actually help your doctors summarize their patient care and engagements with different patients and write really coherent and complete notes and save a lot of time and effort. And then the other one is digital biology. When it comes down to biopharma, biotech, and things like analyzing data from experimentation or labs, all the way to sequencing. And one of the things that AI is really good at is, or is starting to like really get better than even than human, is learning patterns. There is a certain level of complexity that beyond which us humans, like we can't process, or we would have to have you have to spend a lot of time. You have to have really deep technical expertise, things like genome sequencing. And there are billions, and billions of variations of a human DNA genome that companies now are working to leverage AI to help and crunch that number to find patterns and be able to use that to find out genes that are contributing certain diseases to help create personalized medicine or develop more effective drug and medicine to attack these underlying causes. And so having this overarching strategy of really like you can figure out multiple different use cases within your organization, which one is the one that is more prone to and more mature for your organization, which one is going to create more business value for you as an organization to have an edge or build a competitive advantage in your landscape, and which one has a lower essentially tech debt or effort to kick off. These are all like exciting engagements that we're having with clients on a daily basis.
It's interesting when you went down that path, especially when I was thinking about med tech. It starts bringing into questions of ethical AI as well. And I was reading the FDA's approach to regulating AI in certain things like medical devices. And navigating that world gets very interesting unto itself. When I think of just ethical AI, like for example, Sabir and I have delivered engagements through Ahead where we're using our own LLMs internally to do various things, whether it's looking at various vendors and seeing how accurate their products can facilitate some transaction, or like we've even talked recently about using dark LLMs to create our own malware events to stress test certain solutions in a controlled environment. Of course, we're not going to do that in a customer's environment. So we'll do it in a controlled environment to really stress some of these things. But when you think about responsible AI delivery, what comes to mind for you? How are we helping customers navigate that ethical component and some of these regulatory requirements that are really getting involved? What is some of your take on that space and doing this safely?
That's a fantastic point. I feel like every company now, every enterprise company is now talking about AI, or they have an AI roadmap strategy. We were yesterday actually at NVIDIA for an AI symposium at the NVIDIA headquarters with some of our executives. And this conversation was one of the key tracks that we talked about. There is increasing level of regulation and scrutiny. I think this area of how governments think about allowing companies, or now different states also, right? Who is the body that really has adjudication or governance around using customers' data, or the data that we have in the society for AI, is becoming a really hot topic. Certain states, for example, allow you to have AI as part of a computer vision or camera to detect various different people that are walking. Certain states don't. Certain countries or certain states in the United States may or may not allow that you have an algorithm, basically digest or look at patient's data or various aspects of that. In addition to that, there are open databases that government owns that more increasingly companies that are training AI algorithms are tapping into these data sets as an open, quote unquote, air quote, data sets to be able to train their data. But also on the other hand, when it comes down to cancer or oncology, there's a lot of closed data sets that different healthcare systems own, that they're not allowing this data to basically go outside of their organization for any kind of training. Where you use this data, what is that ethical boundary? European Union with their GDPR is actively looking into this into the space. There are bodies within different industries when it comes down to healthcare or financial services that may have some regulations around this. All of this to the side, this is all like government aspect of it. Within the company, what is really the enterprise strategy that for example, we encourage customers to look at private AI deployments where you still own your data and you still are in control, and you're governing your data, and you deploy a private version of a model where just to ensure that nothing outside of your data, from your data, is getting into the training aspect of the model and getting out of the hands of out of your organization. There was a famous leak that happened a few months ago with Samsung, for instance, where some of the engineers uploaded certain documentations to ChatGPT from their design systems and things that were really out, about the IP or results and numbers that their company wanted to keep secure. And it was really unintentional, but next thing you know, individuals and users outside of Samsung, when they were interacting with ChatGPT, were able to identify that and uncover that data. So it is really important to what is really open source has a slightly different definition. I feel like in AI, certain tools are open source. However, when it comes down to security, They're not really recommendable tools that you can deploy at at an enterprise level. And so having that overarching strategy is really important to make sure you're compliant and you have your data in a secure environment.
All right. So, Ethan, this has been an enlightening dialogue. So, why don't we recap, if you will, Ahead's overall portfolio, if you will, or offering around AI, and what you would advise clients for that we could support and help them with?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, with Ahead, we have 8 different practices when it comes down to AI. We have an AI strategy practice, AI security and governance. We have an AI at the edge specific practice. We have a data center practice. We have a data science practice, and we have a managed service practice with all of our integrations. We can definitely help customers along this journey. They'd say the best time to start working on an AI was 5 years ago. The next best time to start on your AI roadmap is right now. And so we're able to help jump on calls and then jump on engagements with our clients and start having that conversation today. One of the things that we've been really successful at is to not only use AI or all these solutions for the foundation, which is often looked at as like infrastructure or cloud or on-premise migration and governance, but really start creating and showing value for the organization and taking to that next level of democratizing AI within the company. And so that employees within the company are starting to collaborate together and sharing information and really tapping into the gold mine of the company, which is really the data that the company itself is generating. And then even taking it to the next level and creating business transformation out of it and doing things like tapping into or increasing their productivity internally, and using that for to generate innovation. Things like reducing your product lifecycle management so that you're releasing your product to the market faster by helping AI augment your drug discovery phase or drug generation phase. Or in terms of financial services, getting a little bit of a boost when it comes down to using AI for predictive analytics, fraud detection, credit risk management. By just moving a small percentage point of accuracy, you can start like unlocking a ton of value for your company.
Awesome. So with that, folks, please do reach out to Ethan, myself, and Darren, or Ahead at large, if you will. Find your local contact. We'll be gladly able to help you do that and address some of your AI strategies or just general problem areas or opportunities that you'd like to tackle. Thanks again, Ethan. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Look forward to the next episode.